Hi, welcome to this episode. Today, I'm joined by Carina and Franco, the parents of two children aged 4.5 and 3. Together, we explore what it means to raise children in Hong Kong. In a city where tradition often shapes parenting, Carina and Franco stand out for the freedom and independence they encourage in their kids. In this episode, we'll explore how they embrace being the minority in Hong Kong by giving their children unusual levels of freedom, like letting them go barefoot to the park or resolve their own conflicts. We'll explore how they've intentionally limited extracurricular activities to just one or two, prioritizing free play and family time over the packed schedule that are common in their community. We'll explore how they pick up schools based on happiness and strong teacher student bonds rather than academic pressure. They will also share honest stories about sibling rivalry, balancing love between two kids, and the challenges of returning to Hong Kong after living in London. Finally, we'll explore the influence of their own upbringings, the impact of inspiring teachers in their life, and how they hope to pass on self confidence and strong family connections to their children. I hope you enjoy our conversation as much as I did. Now let's go. Honestly, I'm proud of us. We did it.
Yeah,
We found a solution. Well, thank you again, guys, for coming to talk about how you're raising your kids on this
no,
podcast. I'm
thank you.
very, very excited to have you. It seems like I know you, although we haven't met yet. You two are in Hong Kong, right? And can you tell us about your little family just briefly?
So we're a family of four, and then like Franco, me, and then the two little kids. Our daughter is Amati. She's about 4.5, and our son is Leighton. He's 3 now. So we are staying in Hong Kong.
Were they born in Hong Kong?
They're born in Hong Kong.
Okay.
Then we moved to UK for about 2 years' time, and then we come back
When did you come back?
June last year.
So you had the kids in Hong Kong, then
Yeah.
moved to London,
Yes.
then came back, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Interesting.
It's a crazy story.
I have a lot of questions about all this. Awesome. This is great. As an introduction, maybe if you could just introduce one another very briefly. Franco, how about you start introducing Karina?
Yeah, definitely. Carina is the perfect mom. You are a perfect mom. Yeah, because when we moved to London, she basically sacrificed her. And yeah, basically she turned from a full-time job, full-time interior designer, into a full-time mom. So a transition for her, but she managed it very well. Yeah, that's a quick intro for her.
This is a very loving intro. How about you, Karina? What would you say about Franco?
I think Franco to me is the most calm people I ever seen before. But after we have kids, he has some challenge. And then we kind of getting more close to discuss how we can be a better people, not just a dad and mom.
All right. Well, I really look forward to digging into all those choices and how you've changed as parents. So, I've been following your essays, Franco, on Substack. That's how I heard about you. And you write a lot about the questions that you are asking yourself as a dad. So, I have lots of questions about this. And I have no doubt that Karina, although you might not be writing on Substack, you are asking yourself as many questions, if not more. Okay, my first question would be, how would you describe how you're raising your kids?
I would say it's a evolving journey and without like a destination, when you're traveling, you have a destination in mind. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to France to meet you in Calvin, like that. But with the kids, the destination is uncertain. It's like pretty unclear. You don't really know where you're going. And along the way, you are growing up with your kids as well. It is a quick, overarching philosophy that I have in mind.
Do you share that view, Karina?
Almost, or more or less. So we give the most freedom we can give to the kids, but the challenging thing is how we control them. If we need to, in terms of like dangers or in terms of like something is it shouldn't available not suitable for in their age. So we still balancing these two things. So it is hard to have a perfect answer for that. But yeah, we try to.
How do you feel as a mom right now? Like, what's in your mind?
What's in my mind is I try to, because I have two kids. So the most difficult thing is to how to show you give the love is balance. It's equal. Right. It's
Like
the most,
between the two of them?
between the two of them, it's very difficult to show
Okay.
the it is equal. It's very delicate. You have to, because they're very sensitive.
So if I reformulate, what I'm hearing is that the challenge right now is to give the same amount of love to each of them. Is it?
I try
to-
to give the same amount of love to them, but they don't think
Mhm.
so sometimes. They will say,
Oh,
well,
okay.
like, for example, I just arrived home, so the two kids just come to you, but of course, one would be faster, one would be slower, but then you had the first one. The second one would say, why him? Something like that. So it's very difficult. You have to explain to them for this.
I see. Do you share the same challenges, Franco, right now?
I think in a different way because it's very hard to give the equal amount of love. Like you're doing it, you from your point of view, you're but 50-50. But from the point of view, like Carina just mentioned, it's very hard. So I try not to think about it in terms of like mathematically or in terms of like a rationally. I just try to be there, like fully present when I'm with my girl and fully with them. And when I'm with my boy, I'm fully with them. So that to me is 50-50. And then for them, looking to us, we 100%. So I try to be like, yeah, I never think about anything like that. Fast.
I see. And the reason why you're saying that is that have you heard one of your kids complaining about not having enough time or having less time or less quality, less moments with you than the other one?
Always. To me,
yeah.
always.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, always. Because
Okay.
I love
Mm.
to like huddle them, like always very close to the kids. So other ones see I'm doing this to another one. For example, the girl seeing me doing this to the boy, she'll be super jealous. But actually, I would do the same to her.
And was there any trigger? Did it start recently? Or do you have the feeling that since the second was born, this happened? What happened basically?
I think since the second was born, it's getting more intense, more serious, I think. The daughter is getting more jealous. So I think before the boy was born, so she was quite jealous of me with Franco also. Even though sometimes we can hang out or we just sit next to each other holding our hands, she won't allow this. But then after the boy
see.
was born, so I would just still had my boy, right? So, but she just can't stand with it. But now she's getting much better already.
What made her do better, do you think? Yeah.
I think both of them could communicate now. Before she she can't talk very well in the beginning when she was young. Even our boy, when she can start to talk with our boy, but our boy is just very young. But now both of them could check together, so they build their bonding, so they get it better.
Okay, one question. What language do they speak?
Cantonese.
All right. Together, they speak Cantonese, I guess, with you two as well?
Yes.
As a family, you speak Cantonese?
Yeah. So in the beginning,
we speak Cantonese.
we always speak Cantonese, but then in the beginning, when our son couldn't speak any words in the very young age, like before 1, so our daughter thought he is speaking English. She tried to speak English with him.
Because your daughter, so they picked English while you were in London, I guess.
In London, also in Hong Kong too. Yeah.
In Hong Kong as well. So I'm going into many different I have a lot of question about how, because you
No
said
worries.
they are 4.5 and 3. Is it something like this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Before we dig into questions about Hong Kong, which I'm very curious to hear about, are they in school? Is there any kindergarten? How does it work? How does it work in Hong Kong? But what are the choices that you guys have made when you went back to Hong Kong after London?
Yeah, I can quickly go through. So in Hong Kong, children usually start kindergarten. So there's 3 years of kindergarten, K1 to K3. And then children start at K1 when they're age 3. So age 3 to 4, and then they would finish, they would go to the next stage in primary school when they were around 6. So our girl, Amati, she's in K2 now. So we are just finishing summer. So she's finishing K2, and then she's starting K3, the 3rd year of kindergarten in September. So our little boy, he will start K1 in the same year, in the same school, actually. So
Okay.
this is how it works. So
Okay.
when we're moving back from London to Hong Kong, it's quite easy transition for us because both of us grew up in Hong Kong. And then I also have a close tie with my kindergarten, which is the same kindergarten that go into this pre-U.
No way.
Yeah, it's a crazy story.
Wow.
My teacher from the kindergarten is still there. And then so that's why when we moved back last year, it's crazy. When I started and
No
we
way.
started in the kindergarten. Yeah, this is another side track story, but
So
yeah.
the story is basically the teacher that's now teaching your daughter. She was your teacher.
So, sort of. He is now like the principal of the school. So, but she's still very close to the student as well.
Wow.
It's a crazy story. Like 30 some years later, she was, because when I was there, that was the first year or first or second year in her teaching career. So she was very young, 20 something. So she's now in the 50s. And yeah, when we moved back, and then the first decision we made is, we should bring them to the school if they still have space in the school, because the kindergarten in Hong Kong is still, so we have less kids now, but kindergarten, the spot is still quite competitive. So I messaged her, and we're coming back to Hong Kong. Do you have a space and we can do an interview? We can apply, go to school. But yeah, we're very lucky to get.
So what are the questions that you ask yourself about picking a school? Like, you were saying, so you knew the spot, and you were saying it's quite competitive to get into a good school in Hong Kong. Is it?
It is.
So what are the choices? Can you probably ask yourself, like, like the sort of education you wanted to give them, or like a specific way of schooling, or was it not even a question because you were like, okay, if this school with my school, which was good, is taking the kids, let's go. What happened? What was the process?
For me, it's quite straightforward. I would say Carina thinks a lot more deeper in terms of education than me in this area. But yeah, that was my kindergarten, and my teachers were there, and they're very supportive. So it's an easy decision for me. I talked to Carina. We should for kindergarten, we should go to this one. But we have more different, that direction in terms of primary school and secondary school, and even not to mention college and university in some years down the road.
Right. So we have a different type of schools in Hong Kong. We have public schools, we have international schools, we have private kindergartens, but not international. Let's say these 3 types. They have even more. So our daughter, the one she go is like public school, but the school is in an area where all the international schools were, but they are getting the very cheapest fee, and also the teachers is the most important thing to us or to me, because every time when I go back to Franco's kindergarten, I feel really in love, and even the vibe is make me, I really want to cry. I don't know how. But anyway, the schools give me this feeling. So, and the teachers really, really good. They didn't teach me because I just arrived of Franco, but they fully loved me. So this is how we make the decisions. And the school is like a super happy school. All the teachers teach the kids with heart. I would say the connections between parents and the teachers and the whole school, the bonding is super strong. So this is how we think, and then we think happy in the early stage is really important. especially when we come back from UK to Hong Kong. So Amati's Cantonese level is not as other kids because she were in the UK picking up the English. So when she come back, it takes time for her to get used to a school with love is really important in our point of view. That's why we think we should connect the kindergarten to Franco or take it.
Yeah, and one thing I would
Makes
add,
sense.
Carina mentioned happy school because it's the bigger contact is in Hong Kong. In Asia, I would say in general, Asian and culture, parents, we definitely talk about the tiger mom and all that crazy parenting stuff. I'm curious about how it is like in France, in Europe in general. But we definitely see that in Hong Kong or in China, Chinese, because Hong Kong is a big, hugely influenced by Chinese culture. So parents, a lot of parents, I would say, they would send kids to more academically focused, more, I would say, not that school focused writing, all that learning. With the content.
Meaning happy is not the main criteria, is it?
Not the main criteria. You can see some kids in the school, some of the private kindergarten.
Yeah.
The kids are just 4 years old, but they can speak fluent English and Mandarin. So
So you're allowed to be happy when you're in kindergarten, and afterwards, like, no more. Then it's
allowed to
focus
happy.
on,
Allowed to
studies.
happy. And they have is the most essential things we need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course,
okay.
way too generalizing, but a lot of the international school, international kindergarten, that's definitely quite
Yeah, yeah.
happy. They're diverse in terms of the curriculum, they do a lot of
Yes.
things. They have some friends, the kids, and go to Montessori school here in Hong Kong. Of course, they're paying a much higher fee. But in terms of our kindergarten that we send our kids to, private one, basically it's free. It's a free school, but they're still pretty okay. There's not that academically pressured. Yeah, I don't want to get it because in primary school in Hong Kong, we have a lot of students under a lot of pressures. And I think Hong Kong has one of the highest suicide rate in terms of primary school kids. So that's another thing.
Yeah, so what's your approach to that actually? Because now they're in kindergarten, they're young, and you don't have to worry much about their academics. But I guess you're already talking about what's next for them. So yeah, naturally, where are you heading to in terms of what kind of primary school we want for our kids? Have you already chosen a path, or is it still confusing, or are there not many options in Hong Kong? Yeah, where
I
are
can say
you?
a few words, and then Karina. That's why I say it's like an evolving journey. And before we moved to the UK, where we're still in Hong Kong, the kids were still young. We're still learning how to become a mom and dad in the first year or two. All the diaper changing, waking up at night and preparing the milk and all that. And then we moved to the UK, and then because when we moved to the UK, stay there for a longer term. We're thinking stay 2 years. And then, but it was quite hard for us, I think, without the support of our parents. And most of our friends are still in Hong Kong and just being there. And Karina was a full-time mom. And then, yeah, that's why we decided to come back to get through that sort of tougher period. But in terms of schooling, we are trying to go to a more multi-dimensional approach, like different way, different path, more explorational, exploring for the kids. And we're trying to look for school and the teachers with the similar path of philosophy in terms of because Hong Kong, we grow in the 10, 20 years ago in Hong Kong, which is very academic. If you're not going to make it in terms of your grade, your school, it will be which is still, I remember Karina told me stories about her teacher because Karina studied arts and design, but some of her teachers is giving her like some hard time as well. So we're trying to have a school and teachers who are more trying to go for different things instead of just focusing on your grades academically.
And how do you do to find that? Have you found it already? That's cool. And if not, what's your process? What are your criteria?
Oh, yeah. I think we're very lucky. I have a pretty close friends. He's a teacher in a primary school, and he is a Hong Kong recently, quite a lot of people doing like rope jumping, rope skipping, like jumping rope. So he's the coach for the Hong Kong team for the rope skipping. He's also teaching in that primary school. And then he told us a lot about his school and how they're doing. They're focusing a lot of sports and other extracurricular activities. So that is one of the school that we are targeting, looking at to apply. So this is one of the paths in Hong Kong.
Okay. So we shortlisted some of the primary school, and also we based on the research on website and also the information from the schools. So each school, most of the school, they have their open days. So parents go to attend the open days and see how the school looks like. And I think our criteria is more, like Franco said, more diverse. And then we also look at the schools, how many nationalities of the students are there. So we wish to have multicultures in the school so that kids could grow up by knowing different cultures. And we also focus on how the kids' strength, like our daughter, she's very strong. So we believe a school with more sports or more movements is better for her. So yeah, that's how we look for a school for the kids.
It's interesting. So you've seen a bit of the UK, like, of course, briefly in 2 years, but what do you think is very specific of Hong Kong in terms of raising kids? So you mentioned the academics, the bar is very high and the expectations are very high, but what else would you say is expected when you raise a kid? Not necessarily school, but like culturally,
Cultural.
What would you say is specific from Hong Kong that you haven't seen in the UK or anywhere else?
Culturally, respectful, I think. Respectful.
Yeah, this is quite big. This is quite big questions.
But I think, I think in general in Hong Kong, it's completely stressful. Is they don't allow you just know Chinese or English. You need to be bilingual. So that makes everyone stressful, even for the parents, because someone could be not good on language, but you're not allowed to. And I think the kids in the UK, they are just freely to speak and raise out what they want, what to say, what they want to express. And just like friends or family with the in school, but in Hong Kong, the children are more taught to be follow the rules and respectful. Even though now everyone know it's not the best way, but still, like before you asking question, you have to raise up your hand.
This is a cultural issue, underlying cultural issue as well in terms of Chinese culture. The power dynamic is very different because we're comparing the Chinese culture and the Western culture in the English way. And in Hong Kong, in China in general, the power dynamics between the teacher and the students are quite big. In terms of the UK, at least, is quite equal. The children are expected to ask questions or different things. I'm not saying we're not like that in Hong Kong, but it takes a lot of time to change that in terms of like a very long history where the topic is respectful. Just go to Japan, and a lot of the Japanese culture is actually like slowly evolved in China. And you can see how respectful the Japanese are. So, but in Hong Kong, because it's a quite different layer, right? Because Hong Kong has been a long time British colony. So we take a lot of the British culture and we blend it together with the Chinese. So we have a more unique identity in Hong Kong as well. And yeah, like quite special, especially when we go to the UK and we can compare that, what we've seen in the UK from how was it like in Hong Kong. And now after we come back here and then we do, in the UK it's like that, and we can do some comparisons. So it's quite nice actually when we talk.
Yeah, I bet it is. Coming back home must have raised like quite a few surprises as well. You mentioned being back with your friend and family. What else did you miss from Hong Kong when you were in the UK?
Oh, definitely. The first thing is the time Carina and I we can have together, just the two of us. Because when we were in UK, In the UK, it's just the two of us with the kids, and then we cannot just go out for dinner or have a lunch or something, or just hang out a little bit. But now we have our parents, so we can leave it to parents. Just like right now, doing this interview with you, it would be a lot harder if we were in London because they will be running around. Of course, we can pick a
Yeah.
school time, but so we are now in the summertime, so we need to ask our parents to help out so we can talk to you, or we can go
Yeah.
out for lunch, something like that. So I think this is one of the biggest thing I miss, sort of.
Right. And for me, even though London is comparatively convenient to other city, I think, in UK, but Hong Kong or Asia is even more convenient. So we kind of meet
In what sense?
in what sense, like in everything, especially in transportations and food choice. London is also very international, but it's more in the downtown. So the food choices you have from the world, but in downtown more. But in Hong Kong, you can find it in every corner of Hong Kong. So it's very different. And Hong Kong, even though it's a city, but like 70% of the land are water, ocean, and mountains. So we can get to do some hiking or outdoor activities very easy. But in London,
Yeah.
you need to drive away to get it.
I really look forward to, seeing Hong Kong. I have friends going there just for running and they just love this area. And well, for food, for running, for many things. My brother actually spent like half a year in Hong Kong for his studies and he loved it. And his pictures were so appealing. Kevin and I lived in Singapore for a while and it reminds us of Singapore, but in a
Yes.
more Chinese way. Like
Think
we
so.
don't know Hong Kong
Yeah,
yet.
I think
we
so.
really look
Yes,
forward
yes.
to.
Hong Kong and Singapore has
Yeah.
some similarities too.
Okay, I'm curious to hear what is something since you guys are asking yourself tons of questions about how you raise your kids. So, what is something quite unconventional that you guys have decided to implement in the way you're raising your kids? Something that's very singular to you and that you don't see many other families around you doing so. Is there something?
Oh
And
man,
what is it?
we always talk about this. So for me,
Go ahead.
Carina has talked about this already. Is the freedom in terms of freedom, the freedom we give our kids. So I'm aware we are quite new. We are the minorities in Hong Kong in terms of being a parent, parenting style. We give a lot of freedoms for kids. If they don't want to wear shoes in the park or on the streets, we just let them go. But you rarely see that in Hong Kong. And in the restaurant, of course, I don't know how we give a lot of freedom. Surprisingly, it may not be a surprise. They behave very well when we go to different places. But I think it's a sort of extreme, right? The more you want to control your kids, the more, for me as well. And when I was little, my mom would control me. I would want to push back. The tension was there. But if you give them the freedom, of course, it's not like 100% total freedom, right? It's not like jumping out good with the streets and all that, doing dangerous things. But we try to give them the distance as much as possible. At home, or go out. So this is one of the things that.
Can you give me an example? So you mentioned going barefoot to the park. What else?
Let's go one at home. The two of them, like happen every day, right? They're fighting over a toy, something like that. I will try to be very intentional. I will just sit there, take a step back. I will intervene. I will give them the freedom to negotiate or fight, or I don't know, just the way they learn how to be with each other, how to sort it out, how to figure it out. They have to learn, right? And then when we go out, I don't know, they behave very well. Do you think so? And when we go out, oftentimes when they are going out, I don't know, maybe the world is so much distraction, kind of everything. They're just going different places, and then they behave perfectly. And compared to at home, they're being very comfortable, and then often there's some minor tension and conflict at home. I think at home we have more tension compared when we are going out to do different things outside.
Right. I believe it's because they feel we are at home is more a safe zone, and then they can do whatever they want. usually. But if we go out, they feels like, oh, they are in a different vibes because with the environment change, they are aware there is more people around them. Even though they are very loud or they could be very talkative. But if we're going into museums or libraries, they just keep quiet, it's like whispers. I think they naturally pick up, or I believe most of kids could pick up. I think so. Um, Going back to the questions, like what you said, what is different of us compared to other parents in Hong Kong? What we think is even kids in this age, like 3, 4 years old, they learn A things like extracurriculars in Hong Kong, 7 to 8. So, but actually, they are still
Wow.
quite young. So the learnings already occupy most of their time. But in this age, I think what they need is play, not just for playing to get what they need in the learning, I think. But so we try to limit it, or maybe 1 or 2.
Swimming.
Like,
Yeah, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. Swimming, and this summertime we have the English, like phonics, some English. So that's the only two thing. Yeah, but
Yeah.
like Carina said, some
And so you
parents
were
are like, why?
So you were saying the average number of extracurricular activities that a kid their age have is 7?
7 to 8, yeah. But 7 to 8 is quite low,
Five,
but
five,
4,
six, 7
5,
at
4,
least.
5
Yeah,
is quite common. But to
yeah,
us,
That's
we
insane.
swimming
We
and
had
all that. Music, I don't know. But we try to do
yeah,
it different. We try to do it another way. We try to not give them too much at this age.
yeah.
So what they do then with this extra time that all the kids are using to do extracurricular activities?
Just
Yeah,
play with each other. They just be with each other.
And also
free play
They can play
basically.
easy.
free play,
They can play easily together.
3
The two of them can
hours.
play with each other for 2-3 hours easy.
Mm,
It's pretty
yeah.
good.
And one thing we don't like to plan their schedule too tight is for just the extracurriculums. It's because we always had something more to do. Like, oh, okay, next week there is an event, like an art event, or like maybe we can go some hiking. So let's just go. But if you already plan for the schedules, you need to rearrange the lessons, the classes. So when they still want to stick with us in this age, I think we should spend more time all together, right?
I completely agree with these two things that you said, guys. First, the freedom, like the more freedom you give them, the more responsible they feel. And the other thing about play, I think we all underestimate the importance of free play. The thing I wanted to dig into is inheritance. What I'm interested to hear is what are you grateful for in your own education? Grateful for your parents or for your school or the way you were educated, each of you? And which is something that you would like to pass on to your kid, if anything at all.
Maybe I can go first. So
Go ahead.
I actually born in China. So when I was 8 years old, my parents kind of bring me to Hong Kong. So I start to learn English when I was 8 years old. And then this is really grateful for me because it allows me to communicate with the world much easier. And then because I'm just new to Hong Kong, so I went to a school which is really crap, I would say. So it's almost like closed down, but accidentally, there is a teacher is really good. So when I was in my young age, like 9 years old, so I already get to know the universities and get to know different kind of art. The teacher is more focused on art. So I draw like huge paintings, like a wall size for 5. And then this make me feel very different. That you think you go to school, you can only do academics or, of course, some extracurricular activities. But that is a huge project along my primary school. So that's very important. And then on my early years, about 10 years that time, so I already know we can do what we want, not just follow the system, I think. because the teacher sometimes when we were in the class, but a few of us are more into the art. So she introduced us to do the paintings, not just go for ordinary classes. So yeah. And then I think when I was in secondary school, so like Franco mentioned in the beginning, is one of my teacher asked me, what are you going to take next year for the special class? You can take like art, you can take history, or you can take geography. So it's a selective. So of course I would take art because that's the thing I'm good at. But she just talked to me and say, you're going to beg on the street if you take art. So you better take a more abacus is better. So and then I really take history. I like history also. But in the first day of the school, the art teachers come into my classroom and he take me out and ask me why you choose history. And then I tell him the reasons. And then he said, okay, I noted. Now I will help you to change and go back to art. And he changed me.
Which you did.
I did. Yeah. He did also. So I changed going back to learn art. So before I go to university, I went to a college. So my teachers is a really inspiring teacher until now, like a professor. He asked us to break the rules, but actually I'm a very good student, I would say. So from primary school until secondary school, I'm always like a good student. But then he asked us to break the rules, which could help me to think more. And also my parents actually allows me to choose my path since when I was very young. So yeah, so it's quite good though.
I liked your story about, it's very interesting how the impact of a teacher on your own path, like someone who believes in you and who believes in your will to just follow something. And it's crazy how it can change the path of one's life. Interesting. And how are you, Franco? Like, what are you grateful for?
As I'm listening to Carina, I'm definitely grateful for my parents, definitely my parents. We just talk about the freedom that we give our kids. I think a lot of it comes from our own parents because both sides of our parents give us loads of freedoms. I remember I loved playing sports in school, so my grade was so bad. My first and second year in high school, I failed. I take a subject and I failed all of them. And it's crazy. And then every year, there's the one day where the teacher will meet your parents, right? And then, my teacher said, you should stop your kids from playing sports. Otherwise, he will even advance to the next year and all that. And my mom was starting to cry and getting crazy. And then, I still remember that. But I still play a lot of sports. I don't really care. And then I changed a bit. And my biggest in Hong Kong, so in secondary school, there were 5 years, and then there was a public exam. And then you will get your score. If you do good, you will advance to we call it Form 6 and 7, and then you go to university. So I didn't make it. I didn't do very good in the public exam. So my mom, she sent me to the United States for a cultural exchange program where it really changed me totally. And then I do my college in the United States and all that. So yeah, super grateful. Otherwise, I would be a completely different person.
So where did you go in the US?
Where? So the first year I went to Kansas, no one go to Kansas. It's crazy. So in Kansas, I study the senior year. So grade 12, the last year in high school in the States. I live with a host family, which is so loving, perfect host family. I still keep in touch with them, my host parents and my host brother.
That's
and
beautiful.
all that. Yes, really nice. Carina and I, 10 years ago, we do a big trip. We do a year. Carina and I, we went back to the state to visit my host family, and they give us a surprise too. They bring the whole family, like 20, 30 people coming in. It's crazy. I thought I would just meet the parents, and then everyone coming in. It's a very, very touching. So
how long did you stay with this family for?
I stayed there for a year, for the high school year. And then I
Mhm.
moved to Seattle for college.
Okay. I didn't know you had such a, I mean, like that you, Karina, you grew up in China, that, Franco, you studied in the US. Like it's very, of course, those stories are very rich of, learnings. Talking about education, we talked about what you're grateful for, but on the opposite side of it, like what would you change?
I think one of the things I hated already when I was young is I didn't know exactly how it say in English, but it is like you have your academic results, right? And then there is
Mhm.
a part that count into your result, which is to remember some of the words by listening or just like a test. Like today we're going to test Romeo and Juliet, and then you have to write the whole paragraph, everything into a book.
Memorize the whole passage
Okay.
and then you
Yes.
write it out.
So
I see.
but to me it's like it's no sense.
Mm.
I hated it when I was young.
So learning something by heart and having to reproduce exactly what you learn, like
Yes.
word to word, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Okay. How are you making sure that in the school that you've chosen for your kids, they're not doing this?
Do they still do this today? I don't know if they.
I they think they're still
I don't
doing
think
it.
so.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
difficult
still
for
do
us.
at least traditional. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
traditional school at least.
if you go to traditional schools like in primary school to go to
I think
public
still have
school,
it.
they still have it. So we try to avoid this.
We try to avoid it this with AI, right? You're telling new kids to talk about the intersection with parenting and AI. Good luck
Yeah.
competing, memorizing with AI. AI can remember everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want your kids to be like a memorizing machine? No.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to dig into that topic as well. But like, to just to wrap up the conversation, so I heard about Karina, the stupid test. I got it. How about you,
Memorizing.
Franco? What would that
I
be?
would say because it's in Southern in history, the curriculum in Hong Kong is quite rigid. It's not flexible at all. So that's the one thing. That's why I don't enjoy school. I just want to do sports because the curriculum is so thick. So there's one
Mm.
thing I would love to have. I wish to have would be for our kids at least. Well, they can have this flexibility and the freedom to explore the knowledge. And especially with AI, right? The children can do some exploration with AI with the guidance of the teacher, of course, on certain subjects or on different subjects, right? From the interest and naturally driven to them. Oh, I'm interested. Our little boy, he loves cars so much. So he can design his own projects around car in a very early age. So this is the one thing I wish I had, and I hope they will have in the future.
Okay, you're talking about AI and stuff. Are you already introducing them somehow to AI tools?
I used to ChatGPT and talk to them a little bit. One day they asked, "Hey, why the eye of the fly felt like that? The strange kind of eyes.
Yeah.
Why not ask ChatGPT?" And then hey, ChatGPT, tell me about the fly, the eyes of the flies." And the ChatGPT answer, and then we listen to it. And of course, they don't really fully understand English yet, so try to talk to them. And then, there's we learn something about it's got the compact eyes, and then we go to YouTube and search compact eyes for kids, and then we watch some YouTube videos together. And I think that's sort of the first exposure to them.
Mm. And what are you hopeful for with a word of AI for our kids who are still super young?
They are not really interacting with AI fully yet. I'm sure they will do that in the next, or no, it might come much faster, right? In the next 2-3 years. I think the school will adopt it. Depends on the school, but sooner or later they will all adopt it in some degree. But the problem is, I don't even know how powerful AI is. So I think the problem will be, how do we judge when should we use it and when we should not use it? And when should we first think for ourselves, use our own brain, or use our own understanding, experience the world first? And if you have problems in certain areas, then you go to ask AI. I think the step-by-step process is very important for us as the parents to teach your kids, because in school it'll be harder, because school, the teacher is facing a lot of students. They might not be able to do such a personal interaction with them. So I think it's really up to us to be there for our kids when it comes to, I think, not just AI. Who knows, in 5-10 years, new technology coming in. I think we have the same process to think about it.
Unless we integrate AI within the education system, teaching them the academics with AI and, like having teachers teach them like more human skills. You already have this kind of schools in the US who are experimenting on that. Actually, it's been already a decade experimenting on this. How do you see Hong Kong evolve in that sense?
Not much about this. Do
Yeah.
you know anything about this, Carina?
I think
It's
I
good.
didn't make the research on that part, but it could be common. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, because Hong Kong
Okay.
always want to get to catch up the trend in the world, like everything, like what the world doing. So they always want to be trendy. So yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, catching up with Singapore. I don't know.
Yeah,
Catching up.
yeah, like a competitive.
There's a race.
Yeah, there's a race.
The race, definitely.
Kind of.
How about screens? What's your take on that?
Like screen time.
Yes, screen time and the content as well.
Like 2 years ago, we allowed them to watch the screen 5 minutes a day. They can select whatever they want. But after that, they get very after the 5 minutes. So we decided to not allow them to watch anymore.
One question, Karina, to clarify those 5 minutes. What was it about? Was it like just you give them your phone and they can do whatever? Or is it like a specific kind of video? Or is it a game? What was it about?
It's the 5 minutes before was they can talk to us what they want to watch, so we can select for them. And then when we select, we will ask them, do you want this? So we can discuss until we get a compromise altogether, both parents and the kids. So they start watch the 5 minutes. So we need them to close the screen by themselves. Otherwise, they can't watch next time. That was the 5 minutes
okay,
before.
interesting. So that was before, but then what happened?
Then they getting very grumpy. Then Franco decided to not allow them to watch anymore every day. So, but when we have more time and really free, then Franco start to get some games, like some very easy like pizza games or some educational games or some board games, but in an electrical way. So he will play with the kids. Some movies or some documentary we think is interesting that we can watch together. So we will all like controlled by us.
I see. So they cannot grab an iPad and just like
No.
navigate through whatever.
Since they don't, somehow they lost that desire in the past 3-4 months to watch YouTube or to use iPads.
Okay. And it's interesting because I just talked to a couple about screen time and their policy is to have absolutely no limits, to let the kids regulate by themselves, which, for me was kind of a very bold move and it seems to be working pretty well. Definitely screens are a big topic. I think we're not yet in the social media thing. I mean, like, our kids are too young, but screens is creating something, as you were saying before, they get grumpy when they spend a few minutes. Our kids as well, if we say yes, they would fight against which movie they want to see. So their 5 minutes would be gone just by, disagreeing on what they want to watch. I don't know if it's the same for you guys.
They are queuing.
So you were saying they watch small videos, they do board games, but you're still around, like kind of
Still around.
monitoring what they're doing, right?
Yeah, we're still around.
Okay. I would like to understand what is the main thing that you would love to pass on to your kid? The traits that if your daughter has this, if your son has this, he will have a good life. What is this thing that you would like to cultivate for your two kiddos, if there's anything at all?
That's a big question.
I love this question because then it drives so many topics. Depending on what people say, it's very interesting to dig into that. And we all
Because
have
it
very different answers.
comes down to our values and our identity and all that. For me, I would say, uh, yeah, the trust, not just self-confidence, the trust to yourself to, when I talk about AI and judgment, right? And AI can give you anything, and the technology can give you anything. The most important thing will be, how do you decide what is right, what's wrong, what is right for you? And also the willingness to accept you can change, right? The fact that you will evolve, you will change, you will meet people, you will do different things in the world, you will go to another country, you may go to space, I don't know, 20 years later. And
Why not?
yeah, the space to allow yourself to accept who you are, I hope this is one of the things what they will have.
So before we go to Karina, I'm not sure if you have the same answer, but just to dig a bit deeper into that, how do you cultivate, what do you do basically? What do you engineer to make sure your kids have this self-confidence and this desire to just like accept change?
I think when it comes to this, it's not anything you can do actively. It's not something you can just teach them. It's definitely not a book you can open. You can tell them some stories, right? But I think a lot of that comes down to very passive learning, what they observe. And the most important thing is me and Karina, we do it ourselves. We lead by example. We become the more role model, be like that. So we can definitely show them or tell them, oh, we do all of this decision. We moved to the UK with you too when we were little. And in the future, we do different things. And then this is who we are. And we will change. We make mistakes. And sometimes we get through the mistakes together, right? And this is the character that I hope in the process they will absorb passively, in the subconsciously. And instead of something you can really, really teach them, I think that's the thing. That's all value is about, the culture and the value.
I understand and I agree with what you're saying that there's no really teaching. It's more of like showing by example, 100%. But in that case, specifically self-confidence, can you walk me through a situation where you're leading by example? I know it's hard.
Yeah, a lot of self-reflection, yes. Leading example, no. It comes down to every moment you're in front of them, not like acting, being an actor, acting it, but how to be yourself and how to be confident in yourself in a way that is comfortable, right? You're talking about how. I think this is one of the very hard thing. I expect they will become teenagers very soon. When you go into teenage, you're always comparing yourself to others, right? You don't know if you're really doing being yourself or you want to do this to impress others. So I think we're quite unique in the sense, we are not, let's say, signing up for different extracurricular activities. We're doing quite different things to compare to other parents, other children's. I remember last month we go to Japan. A lot of people go to Japan, they will go to Disneyland. But we didn't go to Disneyland. We don't like, I don't like go to Disneyland. We'll go to different things, making different choices. I think we will talk to them. We are making these choices, which is quite different from others because A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And then in the process, I hope they will come back to us someday. And then, Dad, I did it in school, while all my classmates do a different thing. But I'm proud of it because ABC, and then this is great, and then tell me more, and then by showing them, hope they would learn from it this way.
So cultivating the art of having a rationale, explaining your choices, be confident that this choice wasn't just like following somebody's lead or just a random choice without any reason. Is it?
I would say so.
Mm-hmm. Karina, what would you say?
It's difficult. So I think in the beginning, I was thinking I'm more, if it's just one thing, to me, it's more very literal. It's like, I would like to let them know, no matter how the family is here, because in their life, they will experience so much. So it could be good, it could be, but no matter how, just come back to talk to us or come back to us. So they will get the strength again. So, but after that, I think one day we will die, you know. So in their life, so I have a little bit of change. Also, I'm thinking the best way we need to like, I think we need to inception them is they have to know what they're doing. So they want to, they could always be a good person or a bad person, but at least what they know they are doing, that's the important thing. Because in this age, they already know they have a strong cognitive already in 3, 4 years old. So what they are is what they decided to. This is what I want to tell them. Cultivate.
So first thing I'm hearing is about connection. Underneath the family thing is like having this strong connection with your children no matter what. Is it what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So they can. I hope they can get stronger, or no matter how, they just come back to connect with us. Yeah.
Okay. Who's inspiring you education-wise? It can be a writer and it can be someone who's dead, a very old philosophic book, or it could be a podcast, or it could be a friend, or it could be a family member or teacher. Or is there any specific person who really have had a strong impact and are still inspiring you?
I think my mom has a strong inspiring on me. Yeah, I think maybe she's intent, but she is quite accidentally gave us quite a lot of freedom and love until today. Yeah. So this it is quite inspired.
Is she living in Hong Kong now?
She's living in Hong Kong now. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say, Franco?
Yeah, I listen to many podcasts that and read quite a lot. But I try to be very careful of who I look up to or I admire to, because I don't know the context. I don't know, because they live in a very different world. But I love reading novel over Khan. He's an angel investors, and he talk a lot about parenting as well between. So I listen, I think about what he says quite a lot.
Is there something we haven't talked about and you would love to talk about parenting wise?
I know this is about Ian and I, but I would love to hear a thing that you are thinking about the most with you and your kid. And how many kids do you have?
Yeah, we have 2. They're 6 and 4.
One is on top of your mind when being a mom with your kids.
Wow, that's a good question. I didn't expect you to send me the questions. It was more about talking about you guys. It's a very good question. What is top of our mind? I think we... Cultivating the relationship that they have as brother is really something that's very... They have a very unique way of, like, they're really, really close. They're besties, you know, like anytime something happens to one, he goes run to, like, you know, like they're always chasing each other. Also, they're fighting sometimes, you know, they're kids. But I think something that's on our mind is what can we do to keep this very close relationship, to keep this intact? What can we do as parents to, you know, nurture this beautiful relationship?
Yeah, I love this. This is exactly what Carina and I are thinking about too.
It's always.
I remember the first day when I came back from the maternity with our second one and they met each other, the love in their eyes, respectively. You know, I can't see something more beautiful than 2 siblings that you have created have their own relationship outside of you. And this is, I don't know, the most fulfilling thing as a mom. To me, actually, this is really the most beautiful thing, is that seeing 2 people that you have made have a crazy good relationship. Wow, like, you know, it could make me cry.
Right.
How to cultivate that, and so many other questions. Well, I would, you know, we would need to sit down on the couch and talk about this forever.
Yeah, this is the same. I think Carina and I feel the same too, because in the past few months, and they're going to that certain sort of age, they become so close that we haven't seen that in the past. I think it's the first period of time. They become so close, they keep hugging each other, playing, talking, and doing all sorts of things. And it makes us very deep. So, just like you said.
Yes, that's the beauty of kids. Like, just seeing this fills you with, I don't know, so much energy and love and everything. Is there anything else you would like to raise? Like something we haven't talked about the way you're raising your kids or the questions that you're currently asking yourselves, the challenges that you're having?
That's loads of questions, but like I always think when would they be like totally independent, you know?
Like expecting that day or being afraid of that day?
We are expecting more than
And I
yeah.
think, remember this, Karina, because when they will be like teens, you will be like, oh, I wish, they were small again.
Yeah, I
Everyone's
wish.
saying that.
Yeah, maybe.
Everyone's saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, Franco, I'd love to hear about what's that. Can you, walk us through this project
Oh,
of yours?
just a little experiment for myself. I wish I had something like that, like a little guy in the first 2-3 years. So our girl is almost 5 now. So I remember when we were in the UK, some of the time is quite struggling. I wish I had that, and then help me bring me a different perspective to what it means to be a dad, because no one really teaches us how to be a dad. Also a mom, right?
course.
Also a mom.
Mhm.
But I mean, hey, I gotta be fair. When you go to the bookstore, go to the library, there was thousands and thousands of parenting books. But I'm doing this for myself. It's more like a reflection for myself. I'm sure a lot of authors and writers out there, they're doing similar things. They're doing that for themselves. Then the true audience is not for others, it's for themselves. The book or the parenting books. So this is just something for me to reflect. Yeah.
Is it
That's
sort
right.
of a journaling kind of thing?
But it's not a journaling, it's a step-by-step guide. So I expect people to read it 1 week, one article a week. If there's some lessons there, and at the end, there's a little practice you can do. So let's say the first lesson is see your kids like sunset. So when you go to the sunset, you just enjoy it, right? You cannot change any of it, but you enjoy every piece of it. And I love that idea. And why not? We don't see our kids just like sunset. We don't change them. There's no way you can change them. You can just sit by the ocean and look at the sunset. The sun goes down and enjoy every piece of it. And why can we do that, right? And that's the little exercise. You can do that just with the practice. So that's the whole what that is about.
Okay, so it's a journey, like you're helping dads navigate being a dad. Is it?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
2 months journey if you do it
Okay.
week by week.
Oh, wow. And what happens after the 2 months? Are they meeting you or do you have like conversation with what's happening?
I just haven't thought about it before maybe people to reach out, but yeah, I think I mean, there's a whole thing about empower, like you said, you empower them. They can talk to others. They can feel better, being more confident to be good parents. Yeah, simple.
Awesome. I will obviously put the link of your essays and of what's that. And Karina, are you also writing online and we just don't know about it
Yeah.
yet?
I actually
Or
didn't
how,
write.
you
Didn't
know,
write.
what? Sorry?
I actually didn't write anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I can see we're close to, your kids coming back. So, I wanted to, well, first thank you. Thank you for your time. I so much enjoy digging into all this.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right. Is there anything you would like to share with the people listening to us? Can be a book, can be a movie, can be whatever feels like sharing.
As parents, we are more like supporting each others. But I think most important is we can read loads of books, we can read articles, we can attend some classes. But to me, if parents supporting parents is more like if you could agree the feelings of they express at first, then they will, okay, you understand me. Okay, this to parents to let them how to release themselves is a good way, I think. Yeah, this is what I want to share.
Well, it's very wise. I agree with that. We need more support. That's also the purpose of this podcast as well, is like hearing that other parents are asking themselves questions and they're navigating through challenges, through storms, and also like sunny days. And that we're doing our best. We're not perfect. We're just
It's just
trying
first
to.
time be parents, right?
Exactly. And we have all those feelings, and we just need also to talk to other parents and to feel that we're being heard. What would you say, Franco? What would you like to share?
Oh, I love this idea of yours to do the podcast. I know there's a lot of work behind it and like the headphones, but you definitely see the mission and energy you have to, yeah, to let other people, to let other parents to tell their stories.
Mm.
Sometimes this is like enough, right? I think it gives us a lot of energy to continue the journey with our kids. Sometimes I think things happening so fast, we don't have time to slow down and look back and reflect, oh, we have been through so much.
Yeah, exactly. We are caught into our crazy lives, running after time, after activities, things to do, and our own jobs, etc. And like just making a pause, think about that's what you're doing with writing, But like having this conversation all together, I wish it raises lots of questions among people listening as well. Anyways, thank you so much again for making the arrangements and making yourself available. I really appreciate it. And I know what it takes for a parent. So, again, appreciate that.
Thank you for the invitations.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Cheers.